I think it was starting this project was more a human interest. Yeah, that was the starting point, because maybe a little bit philosophical. That's what you can talk about. But I read in the Netherlands, the national newspaper, there was a big article about the whole immigration process, and this training, which we see in the film, was one little paragraph. So when I read that paragraph, it raised many questions to me. The first question was, okay, so people have to deport refugees back to their homeland, but I mean, to what extent can they get emotionally involved in this process? And at the same time, I was curious, you know, how does this process work? When they start the training, what do they learn? Are they critical about it? Do they reflect on their task, on their job, or do they have to really switch this kind of button in order to keep doing this? So these and more questions were the starting point. So more in a human interest, psychological kind of way than political. Yeah, actually it's an interesting question, because the training was 10 days, like 10 different training days. And my first idea was actually, it was even a bigger film, because what I wanted to do, I wanted to make like a parallel montage from the training, and at the same time I want to show a refugee who was 3 days before his deportation. So like you have two different sides, and they come together when someone has to deport the other. So I wanted to make it like that. But because I made it in film school my third year, there's a restriction. It can be much longer than 20 minutes, so that was not a possibility. But also of the training, we later on made a longer version, because we were discussing it for TV broadcasting, but those negotiations collapsed because it was politically too sensitive to get it on Dutch television. So I would have wished to make it a bit longer, maybe 40 minutes, but in one way this version also has its strengths, I think. But I still don't know, because 2 weeks before we were starting the shooting period, we had to sign an agreement that in the first place it could only be used for educational purpose, like within the film academy, or maybe international festivals, but so it was never screened for a big, broad audience in the Netherlands. As I told you, we negotiated about this longer version, but I think the Royal Marshals, the organizations, they were interested in it, and they thought it was a good idea. But it was the Ministry of Justitia that had other opinions, because they're more politically sensitive to it, and they know that it could result into problems for the State Secretary, maybe. So in this case, it was not, I think, a matter of trust, but a matter of perspective, and a matter of the way we edited the film, because I remember the first day the training started, and at the introduction everyone had to tell why are you following this course, because there's even a waiting list, because for most people who do this course it's like something different, because normally they most time of the work they check passports, so this is, you know, something new, something different, so they want to try it. But yeah, what I find interesting there during this introduction, that actually no one thought it was going to be a hard job, and not many people were reflecting on the work they were doing, or they were starting to do. So I think what we did in the editing, we tell the audience that they reflect on their work, but that's I'm not sure if that is very close to reality, but I think that's more how I wish reality would look like. Because I think when people would reflect on on their job, something like this, and if, develop a kind of critical way of thinking. I think that's important. But yeah, it could also be still some people don't do it, of course, but that's how we would like it to be.